The next section we will be looking at deals with the requirement concerning authorization for medication administration and obtaining informed consent. Again, let's take a quick look at the topics for you to be on the lookout. You will also find them on your worksheet for this section. I want you to know the names of both of the forms that must be completed and signed before you can provide any medication assistance to an APD client. They are the Authorization for Medication Administration form and the Informed Consent for Medication Administration. In this section, I want you to focus on the rules. What is required? Who is responsible for the various things described in the rule? What things need to be done and when? Who is permitted to do what? We will be learning how to complete all of the forms, and you will be practicing the process in Module 2. In order for medication assistance services to be provided to an APD client, a signed and current authorization for medication administration form and informed consent for medication form must be at the client's place of residence, and a copy must be in his or her client record. The Authorization for Medication Administration form is completed and signed by the person's primary health care provider. It could be their doctor, a physician's assistant, or a nurse practitioner. The easiest way to remember who is permitted to sign the authorization is that it is the same people that write prescriptions, an MD, a DO, a PA, or an APRN. What the authorization does is that it not only authorizes you to help, but it also tells you the amount of help you will be giving and if there are any exceptions. This form must be reviewed and updated at least every year. If there is a change in the person's medical condition, their ability to manage their medications, or if they're having issues tolerating a particular route, the form needs to be updated. This should be done even if it hasn't been a year since the last one was completed. Whenever there is a change to the Authorization for Medication Administration form, the Waiver Support Coordinator needs to be notified. It doesn't specifically state in the rule that you have to, but I would always send them a copy of the authorization. Be sure to document that you notify the Waiver Support Coordinator. You will hear me tell you many times, if you don't document it, you didn't do it. Informed consent for medication administration is the second document that must be completed and current for you to provide medication assistance for APD clients. Again, like the authorization for medication administration, this document must be in the person's client record and at each facility or location he or she receives assistance with medications. The consent must be updated every year, or if there is a change in the agency, company, or facility that is providing medication assistance. The client or the client's legal representative must sign the consent. The best way to remember who can sign the informed consent is to think, if you or your child needed surgery or other medical treatment, who can give permission? So, the answer is the client. For clients under the age of 18 years, the legal representative or healthcare surrogate appointed by the Florida court to represent the child or anyone designated by the parents of the child to act in the parent's behalf, for instance, due to military absence. For clients 18 years of age or older, the legal representative could be the client, anyone designated by the client through power of attorney or durable power of attorney, a medical proxy under Chapter 765 of the Florida statutes, or anyone appointed by a Florida court as a guardian or guardian advocate under Chapter 393 or Chapter 744 of the Florida statutes. If you are the person's MAP, you may not act as a healthcare surrogate or proxy, or sign the informed consent. However, other providers or facility staff may sign as a witness. Another important thing to remember is that the client or the client's legal representative may change their mind at any time and revoke the consent. One of the guiding principles of APD's home and community-based services is to give a person with disabilities the most independent and inclusive life that is possible. We must always encourage the person to be as independent as possible. Therefore, a MAP should always limit his or her assistance to the minimum necessary to ensure the proper administration or supervision of the self-administration of medications. In other words, let them do as much as they can if they want to. It may be quicker and easier if you do it, but you are depriving them of the feeling of accomplishment when they are able to help themselves. Requirements found in 65G-7 do not apply to everyone, including licensed healthcare providers whose professional license authorizes them to administer medications. Examples would be nurses and physicians. I will go over all of the people who are excluded on the next slide. It doesn't matter if you are a licensed healthcare provider or an unlicensed MAP. The documentation requirements related to the following forms must be met: authorization for medication administration, informed consent for medication administration, medication administration record, also known as the MAR, off-site medication form, medication destruction record, medication error report, and controlled medication form. In addition to licensed healthcare providers, there are other people that the requirements in 65G-7 do not apply. Family members and friends that are providing medication assistance and are not being paid. APD clients who have been authorized by their primary healthcare provider to self-administer medication without assistance or supervision. Remember, this designation will be found on the Authorization for Medication Administration form. People who work for or are under contract with other types of agencies or facilities that provide services to people with developmental disabilities have guidelines and rules they must follow, but the requirements found in 65G-7 do not apply. They include state Medicaid intermediate care facilities for the developmentally disabled, licensed home health agencies, hospice, health service pools, and assisted living facilities. Any APD client who is authorized to self-administer his or her medications without the supervision of an MAP or an authorized licensed provider may receive help in making sure the medication is available or reminders to take the medication at the appropriate time or times. This form of assistance isn't considered to be contrary to the requirements that the person can take his or her medication without supervision, monitoring, verbal prompting, physical assistance, or cueing from staff. People who are independent and take their medications without assistance or supervision may request that the staff store their medications in the central storage location and retrieve the bottles at the appropriate times. Remember, though, the MAP may not give the person any further assistance. In 65G-7.007, I will be teaching you about the storage rules and documentation, and we'll revisit this situation. The only APD clients that may use a pill organizer, also known as a pill minder or pill box, are those authorized to self-administer medication without supervision. However, he or she must be completely independent of the staff when it comes to filling the pill organizer. That means you may not supervise, monitor, verbally prompt, physically assist, or cue the client. The client or his family must physically complete the task of filling the pill minder with no assistance at all from you or any other direct service provider working under an APD contract. We have completed another section of the Florida Administrative Code. Next, you'll have your Practice Makes Perfect activity. Be sure your worksheet study guide is up to date. In the next section, we will be looking at 65G-7.003. It looks at the requirements for medication administration trainers.